Hello, this is Astro Design and I'm Lily, your guide. In today's video, I'm going to talk about another planet that is going to give us very important learning lessons starting from December until the end of February 2025. This planet will join Mercury that will be already in a retrograde period and will be itself in a retrograde period as well. So generally speaking, a retrograde planet means that some kind of planet appears to be going backward from Earth's vantage point. Although in reality, all the planets are always moving forward, but from the Earth, it can seem that this planet is in backward motion. And of course, there is a different meaning and energetic influence on us, on Earth. The different speeds that a planet can have is a very influential time energetically on all of us. Mars is one of the planets that seem in retrograde motion quite rarely, once in about 2 years. This is why those periods considered more dramatic in our life. But as always, it depends on the natal chart, on the transit chart, and how we manage to work those energies out through our lifetime till that point. Mars is associated with energy, action, ambition, drive, passion, aggression, war, sharp weapons and objects, blood, and first act then think behavior. During its retrograde, many may experience a decrease in vitality, difficulty achieving goals, and general frustration. It may seem like nothing is going as planned. Mars is also represent machinery, engineering, and building. In retrograde periods of Mars, the energy impact on all of us will be similar or resemble people who were born with retrograde Mars or weak positions of it. We can experience difficulties in assertiveness or inadequate assertiveness. It will be harder to stand up for ourselves, to be brave and act with determination. Fears of ineffectiveness and achieving goals can be problematic. Also because our desires and drives can be somewhat different from the norm or even in a frozen state. Also problems with schedules and time management can arise, especially with people who have this quality from birth. It will be as if time is running out and we cannot keep up with it. Sometimes it can manifest as a blocked passion without outlet, which can explode as anger, aggression towards the opposite sex and lead to betrayals or even physical violence. This time, it will be harder to balance between activity and relaxation, aggression and assertiveness, and also it will challenge our handling situation with stress and impulses. Our drive and energy can be lower and requires a push from an external source. Let's look in a more in-depth view. The retrograde Mars period begins with the activation of the 31st gene key, which called impact. the design for leadership, for better or worse. This is the mechanics of being influential. The 31 gate represents the democratic leader, or not. As always, everything is dual in our life. When someone is a political leader, no matter how they came to this position, they will have to pass on the quality of their leadership to others. They must pass on a pattern to others, something that is logical. The leader will always depend on the quality of his constituents and the quality of his leadership, his or her. The leadership abilities that are in this energy still do not mean that it is good for others or can be effective for the future. This requires proof over time because this energy gate is part of the logic process, and as such, it needs to be tested through time and quality control tests. But all the elected so-called representatives of the public, after their election, degenerate into corruption and the complete opposite of democracy. Don't you agree? Worldwide, we have the spread epidemic and the phenomena of negative power and leadership use. The 31 gate is positioned in the throat center and as such creates influence and power attributes through words, through speaking. Most people follow those who have a beautiful, articulate speech. But are those the people that stay true to what they say, act upon their words, or their attraction starts and ends with meaningless copy-paste words? Words that others want to hear, and these people just have the gift to feel and sense what others want to hear. This gene key places too much importance to words. It is arrogantly sure that through speech it can captivate followers and gain infinite control over those sheep that believe words more than actions. Mars in this energy can easily confuse words with action, influence with control games, forceful leadership with being chosen, and strong words with meaningful deeds. It will be a time of battle, of frustrated communication that strives for power and recognition by diminishing and devaluating others. Some will submit to communication aggression and become even more obedient followers of the puppet rulers that only preach but don't do a thing for other people's stomach feeling. Then, after this retrograde period will end, Mars will activate the 53rd gene key. This energy will be at the conclusion of Mars's retrograde period, and thus it will be a beginning of a new 2-year cycle for Mars and our action in our life. This energy called development, and it is from the abstract energy field, which based on our experiences. Everything in our life has a beginning and an end. Step by step, walk through the process until it is over. This is the gift of this gate and the ability to learn in the process. Although this energy is the energy of beginnings, the energy of freedom to begin something. In order to begin something, to expand. We need a free will. We need our freedom, because without it, we won't be able to go through any kind of learning process and evolution. It is a cyclical energy to start processes, but because it is in the root center, there is immense pressure here to finish them as well. This is the gate with the most stress out of all the root center gates. For those of you who do not know human design, it has 9 centers, 9 chakras, and the basic one is the root. This is the energy of stress and starting something. Biologically, this gate has the most secretion of adrenaline. So the urge and pressure in this gate is to get something started, and it is a very hard to control sense, especially when Mars activating it. At the same time, it can create problems and crises if we constantly jump from one beginning to another and do not finish what we started. So if we do not get enough experience and learning from something while jumping to something else, it will bring crisis. So this energy will require from us balance between beginnings and endings. But of course, with Mars activating it, we will have the challenge to control this need to constantly start something new. This is why this energy has a lot of potential for depression. Every time we have an urge for something new, but we have some sort of restrictions on it, strength begins to accumulate inside and creates mental and physical problems. This can be very immature energy because it jumps impulsively from one thing to another in any and every field, thus not learning from the process and not finishing anything. Mars has a very immature energy as well. It loves to move forward and as fast as possible, not thinking, not planning, just acting. The most common immaturity in our lives is caused as a result of money and desire to control and power. This is the basis for the low energy frequency of this energy that rules the world. As long as we do not give service to others, our focus is only on money and control. And we will not be able to evolve, to progress, and reach a new and better starting point, where we will no longer worry about our survival. The fear of economic survival will then be able to disappear and no longer be a tool in the controlling agents of this world. Especially when we understand that our survival depends on each other and not merely on our individuality. After more than 2 months period of being in a battlefield of control through aggressive communication, many people would like to jump out of it to something new, new leaderships, new politics, new economical freedom, etc. It is, after all, a collective energy, the 53rd gate, so there will be a need to share it with everyone. People will try to start new things, jump from one thing to another without finishing what they started before, without checking whether it is worthwhile and what the consequences will be. The pressure to start is greater than any awareness to this pressure, which does not exist even in this energy, especially in the unconscious people who are chasing money and control. The influence of this energy field will, of course, first of all, manifest in the work and business areas. Companies and corporate businesses will start to dissemble and fire all the regular employees that were fixed on doing the same thing most of their lives. The circumstances of the world will be such that people will have to start something new if they were stuck at something before. And this can lead to a mass depression that can cultivate itself later as a mass aggression worldwide. There will be other groups of people, mainly the younger generation, that had already lived in a frivolous lifestyle that will be even more scattered and jumpy. Many inexperienced people jump into fields that they have no experience nor education nor some basic born gifts in some kind of field. For example, health coaches, lifestyle gurus, human design guides. So for these people, it's about money, not the service, and not the enjoyment of the learning process. For them, too, this start of a new 2-cycle period of Mars will be frustrating. Because if your inner motivation is false, Mars will cut that field from your life, especially in the year of 2025, because after all, this is the year that's ruled by Mars. Overall, the drive to something new will be immense in 2025. But have you done your learning from previous processes? Do you sense inside that there's no more development in what you do? That you achieved what you were aiming to? If yes, it will be a booster time for you to start new and a more aligned project, aligning you to your past fulfillment. Because when we receive wisdom from what we have done before, by sticking with it as long as it gives us knowledge, later we can expand and grow. Astrologically wise, the retrograde period begins with Mars receiving opposing, challenging aspect from Pluto, the transformation agent, which gives a hue of aggressive, conflicting, full of resistant energy. And while the sign Aries is favored by Mars, it is occupied by Rahu, the North Node, the illusionary expansion, the drive to act violently, impulsively, and immaturely is there. It is a very dangerous time, especially on the roads and with big populated areas. And while Christmas is very close, it will be very dangerous. Especially when there is a mind-altering substance use in parties or other big gathering events. This will be amplified and especially dangerous, and pay attention to these dates, between the 6th of December until the 15th of December, when Mercury is in retrograde and Mars is in retrograde. And not only this, but we have a very harsh aspect between Saturn and Jupiter. So December will be indeed a very roller coaster ride with extreme weather conditions in the outer world, but as well in the inner world of us humans. The astrology map of Mars getting out of its retrograde period on the 24th of February next year is much more harmonic. Mars will receive harmonic aspects from Mercury and Saturn, and thus will help to construct a better action road, a better action path through the organization ability of Mercury and the structures of Saturn. This is all for this video. Hope it will give you inspiration and valuable knowledge to think and act upon. Take care.